is released in 1919 on PS1 and is re-released in PS2 as Zill O'll Infinite in 2005, and then re-released again for PSP as Zill O'll Infinite Plus in 2009. Since then, only a prequel, Trinity Soul of Zill O'll was released for PS3 in 2010. But in this video, I will be playing Zill O'll Infinite because I have heard this is the most balanced in terms of gameplay out of 3 Zill O'll games. This game never got localization, but fan translations are available, and the only reason I'm playing in Japanese is to practice the language and nothing else. That said, my goal is to showcase what this game looks like, how it plays, and give my thoughts on it after I quickly run through the entire game from start to finish. I will cut out a lot of stuff that I think are irrelevant to the main storyline from my 60+ hour footage to save time and try to pack as much info I know in this video. I said I will try because I did not manage to get every single info I need to piece things together fully from just a single playthrough, and you definitely need multiple playthroughs to see from different perspectives in order to fully understand the game. The video is still going to be a long one despite my best effort to shrink it down, so please let me know your thoughts on the video as I would very much love to know your feedback. Finally, if you are considering to try the game for yourself, watch only up to the part where I explain about mechanics and then skip to the outro when I talk about pros and cons without watching the story in between, as this game is heavily story focused with gameplay being almost an afterthought. But it is still worth noting a thing or two from this video before you go ahead and try the game for yourself. I will leave the timestamp for all the segments, but with that out of the way, let's begin the video. Starting the game. So in Zill O'll, you do requests go around the coordinate and trigger characters and main event randomly. After you trigger a set of events, the history in-game will progress. There are stop points in between main event and story progression, but they are hard to notice if you are not carefully planning each action you take right from the beginning. So just to be safe, I recommend grinding before you even try to do anything with the game, because you will gradually lose control of the game with constant bombardments of offense after offense, and before you know it, every monster in game will power crab you and you will have to restart the run again in worst case. But that kind of freedom factor is what made this game really fun and enjoyable for me, because you never know what will happen next at any given time. But it will be just faster to show you the game, so first thing first, enter your name and birthday. I have read during your birthday in game, if you have a good affection with characters, an event will occur, but it never happened to me, so I can't confirm that. Then choose the hair color. Hair color affects the starting level of your elemental attributes. There are 4 elemental attributes: fire, water, earth, and wind. You need starting level in elemental attributes to cast spells, and you can level them up by defeating monsters, and each attribute level capped at 10. For example, I chose blue hair, so my starting level for water attribute is 2. Then the game will ask you some questions, and depending on how you answer them, your starting stat will also differ. So we have strength, vitality, intelligence, mind, agility, and dexterity. Strength increases your physical damage and lets you equip heavy equipment without penalty. Vitality increases your health pool and physical defense. Intelligence increases your magic damage and magic defense. Mind increases your magic damage and mana pool, but there is a spell called Shadow Aura, and that spell deals more damage the higher your mind stat gets. And I recommend having this dark magic spell on as many team members as you can. Other than that, agility lets you deal more crit damage, increase your accuracy and evasion, and also lets you move faster and attack multiple times in battle. This deck is arguably the most important thing in this entire game for that very reason. And lastly, dexterity. This deck also increases accuracy, but more importantly, it lets you open treasure chests. Opening treasure chests in Zill O'll is more important than you might think. In fact, it was because of the item I got from treasure chests that I was able to beat this game. After that, choose the starting point among these 4 options. I chose the tutorial one because I like to go for default options whenever I can in games to save myself from choice paralysis. Choosing the starting point in Zill O'll actually matters as well, because this will determine what your overall gameplay experience will be like, as well as some of the endings. Mechanics explained. The tutorial lets you start a roster where nobles and riots are having their internal affairs. But turns out there is not a single decent good noble, riot, or rich character in this game, and everybody of those status are mostly bad. And in roster, the example of bad noble is this guy, Taruchuba. He likes to bully the residents by using monster Bob from Antino, a rich merchant from Liberta. And right now, you and your childhood friend Aireen, the president of Rosto, are trying to defend that town. But after Aireen sees you from the attack, you lost conscience and wakes up at Aireen's home. Now I finally get control of my character, so let's take a look at the menu. From top to bottom in order, we have item, magic, stat, equipment, skill, soul, info, and system. Mass party member is 4, and you can change role of your party member. The role are center, front row, and back row. Rider and center take more damage and deal more damage, but I never tried it once because it was risky and I just love firing magic from afar. In system tab, you can look at the entire encyclopedia of every character you have encountered, and not only that, you can also read about towns and dungeons from guild as well. This is the kind of game you can learn everything by just playing the game and not referring to the external source once. The only example I can think of on top of my head right now is 3 series. Next is info tab. Here you can check your ongoing requests, and the max limit you can take is 3. And if you get lost, you can always ask your party member to give hint for what you do next. Now the next tab is definitely the heart and soul of Zill, the soul tab. I want to make an extensive explanation here before I move on, because this tab is like a mini game inside of a game itself. The picture you see on the right are souls, and you pull these souls towards you by putting soul points into these categories: brave, kind, sage, believe, wise, and cool. Each souls require different soul points in different categories, and you get soul points from doing requests. So why are souls important in Zill? Well, each soul gives you different stats growth, different skill set and magic, and once you pull the soul, you will be able to buy skills and magic in exchange for your skill points. And those skill points can also be obtained by defeating monsters. So gameplay is simple enough to just go around and farm monsters to get stronger, right? Nay, I recommend not even trying to level up before you are able to obtain souls that can provide you with great stat growth. Because the more you level up, the harder it gets to level up, and trust me, you don't want to go into late game with low stat characters. So take your time and mess around while you are still in early game. Trying to do many requests to gain soul points and avoid battles as much as you can. And the good thing about Zill Infinite is, after every battle, you turn invisible for a short period, which is a good additional quality of life improvement unlike the original Zill. It is like even the game itself is encouraging you to avoid battles in a way. And also, keep in mind that every request gives you EXP, so I recommend just taking on the delivery and escort requests that are easy and give only a little EXP. Because no matter which request you do, you only get 1 soul points per quest, and getting those soul points are all it matters. Leave the harder one for farming EXP late game, but for now, just focus on getting soul points and pulling souls. In my case, I take those hard requests anyway and delete them immediately just so that I could go into late game dungeons earlier and open those treasure chests and grab those late game items as early as I can. So what souls do I recommend? For physical attackers, aim for souls that give you strength, vitality, and dexterity. Pull Glow Fighter Soul, and then pull Grey Tail Soul, and lastly White Fang. Once you pull White Fang, every physical attacker should pull Bow Gunner Soul, as it comes with a skill called High Glide that lets you hit flying units. Normally, only Bow can hit flying units, but if your melee character is equipped with High Glide skills, they can also hit the flying units as well. And these skills matter a lot, as when you get to the late games, many flying units will appear. After all that, pull Mighty Blow skills that give you 5 stats into strength and vitality whenever you level up, and you are good to go for the early game. Next, I recommend every character, no matter what their build is, have at least 1 basic healing spell and magic spell, as you don't want to waste MP from your mage character all the time. So how's magic in Zill? Magic spells are OP in Zill as they never misses, deal a ton of damage, and have a ton of utilities as well. Magic does everything for you in this game, so you are just doing yourself a disservice if you are not going for magic. And for the late game physical attacker, pull for Lawful Blade Soul and buy Holy Heart that lets you inflict holy damage to enemy. Because attribute advantage in Zill goes like this: Fire beats water, water beats earth, earth beats wind, and wind beats fire. And then there is dark magic that beats all elemental magic. And then there is holy magic that beats dark magic. So basically, holy magic is the strongest in this entire game, except against non-attributed opponents, in which case you do a normal damage of course. After Lawful Blade, pull Arc Sword Soul. This is the best soul you can have for your physical attacker stat growth wise. Plus, this sword comes with sonic blow skill that lets you attack enemy twice. And finally, every physical attacker string shiny level sword. This sword is crazy as it comes with all attack skill that deals physical damage to all enemies. Now, not to confuse with magic and skill, because magic costs MP and skill costs you nothing, and only a few skills cost you HP, like one of the shiny Leo skills, Burning Brave, that costs 1/3 of your HP and lets you attack enemies 3 to 5 times. To put it simply, if your agility stat is lost higher than enemy, you can go into triple actions that let you act 3 times per turn, meaning you can hit 15 times to an enemy in a single turn if you are really lucky, which is as crazy as it sounds, but that never happened to me once. In fact, I regretted going for 1 hybrid and 1 physical attacker and 2 mages instead of just going for 4 mages team composition, which would have been pretty sick in hindsight. For speed-based characters, beeline towards Grimori, Trickster, and then Lunar Shadow, because Lunar Shadow souls come with quick arc that lets you open any treasure chest with no dexterity caps, and everybody also should have this soul if they are lagging in agility and dexterity department. Lastly, for your mage character, pull Warlord Souls for low rank magic, Cleric for healing spell, then pull Patriarch as it gives you holy spell that deals holy damage, and then pull Nirvana for high rank AoE magic, and then for late game, pull Agastya for unite magic that gives you a lot of buff and debuff spells. But more importantly, it comes with dual spell skill that lets you use any spell twice. And lastly, the MVP of all attacks, Nega Venetia Soul, that gives you 0 aura skill, which deals damage based on how much mindset your character has. One neat thing about this skill is that it is a skill and not a spell, so it costs you HP instead of MP. So you can keep spamming these skills and then use your MP to heal yourself back. And also, since this spell is a dark magic, it one-shots any monsters with elemental affinities by dishing out over 2k damage. Still, there is one more magic left. We need certain requirement to be met in order to unlock it, so I will talk more about it when I get to that part in video. And that's it. I hope that gives you some idea of what the gameplay looks like. But if you don't worry, because I will go over it once again when I get to talk about battles. But for now, let's begin the story of Zill O'll. Story tutorial. First, I go to dojo and meet with this guy, who then asks you to run an errand for him, so when you do that, you get to visit blacksmith. What do you do in blacksmith? In Zill O'll, you can only buy base equipment like sword and bows and plate armor, and you have to upgrade your equipment by yourself. There are 3 ways to upgrade. 1 increases your attack or defense, and 2 is changing its shape. And to do all those things, you need alchemy stones. Alchemy stones can be found from treasure chests or inside caves and mines. And 3, you can add status effect on your weapon like petrify and poison, or status resist on armor. This is way more useful than trying to waste resources on upgrading the first 2 on your equipment, and the more upgrades you do, the more heavier it gets. Also, you can add elemental effect on your weapon and armor from these priests as well to give you advantage with the elemental attributes, but I didn't find any use of them in my playthrough. There is also an item shop where you can buy recovery items and buff items, but I did just fine from using only items monster drop and items I got from treasure chests. After that, head to the slums, and inside the bar you meet Zenetes. He is like very famous among peasants and said to be really skilled swordman. Oh, and this girl likes you, and that's about it, because she never appears again for the rest of the game after this tutorial session. Zenetes will explain how to grind and teach you about soul, both of which I've already explained, so we are good for now. And in bars, you can collect even more info about the lore and gameplay by buying drinks. And at the end of this errand, you get in a fight with this dude because he was harassing this girl, and this is our first fight of the game. From top to bottom on the left, we have attack, skill, magic, item, charge, defense, move, and run. Charge, unlike skills and magic, you have to, charge a couple of times before you attack, and the only difference between attacks after charging and attacking multiple times is that charge attacks comes into handy during hard boss fights, where the boss stats are so high, you have to overcome its defense threshold first in order to deal damage to them. Next, on the top right corner, you can see a 5 turn counter. It means if you can end the battle within 5 turns, you get a bonus EXP, gold, skill points, and elemental attributes points. The faster you can end, the more opponents you can get. And below that, you can see the roll position of enemies and allies. Back to the fight though, this guy cheated during the battle and one-shot me, so I lost. And in Zill O'll, you will run into a lot of unwinnable fights like this quite often, so don't worry if you just can win most of them. After you have done the run, this guy will ask you to go and retrieve Holy Grail, a secret treasure enshrined in Rostore because it was stolen by goblins that speak human language. And so you and your childhood friends set off on a journey to find those goblins. First, we go to the mines, and while we are looking at the giant hole in the ground, this happens. Oh yeah, full motion movie time. Red eye blended, right? And after that, both you and Aireen falls into the hole, and then you meet Goblin there, who calls himself Team Gobu Gobu, and enters another fight which is unwinnable. But the strat here is to aim for the little guy first, so that their leader cannot use the skill that one-shots you. After you lost, you wake up back at Aireen's home again. Then Aireen is in frustration, found to never return back to Rostore until she retrieves the Holy Grail. And that's true both lore-wise and gameplay-wise as well, because in Zill O'll, you are considered alone whenever you are inside town and cities. So when battles happen during that time, you get to fight all battles by yourself, and your teammates will only join you when you go to dungeons on the overall map. So our first destination is to Liberdam, a city of freedom. In Liberdam, a rich merchant like Antino and Roti are the most prominent, as they make a lot of money by selling weapons and monsters to other countries. You can also learn some of the lore of this game in this museum, but let me just drop the entire lore on you instead right here. So Zill O'll is set in the world where people live really close to the god, and notable ones are Sky God Notun, who is worshipped by residents of Notun City. This god does not have any image or statue, but instead the literal movement of skies and stars are considered the movement of Notun himself. War god Solius, a god summoned by Notun from another world, has 2 servants under him and wields 7 weapons. His long-lasting fight with destruction god Uruk is romanticized by many artists like Lelubi, and a statue of Solius can be seen in a city called Ancient. Our god Bias, the first child of Notun and also born as twin. Bias is able to give birth to the being that can bring destruction like 3 dragons, Dragon King, Sea King, and Sky King, and 12 titans like Furuf and Pandare. And also, Bias is the one who gave elemental magic to humans, and everything grown on earth is because of Bias' blessing. Bias is also the one responsible for sealing away Mother Goddess Tira, so obviously, Bias is pretty biased towards our humans. In contrast to those gods, there are also evil gods who wield the power of sacred treasure. Some can take its material found in this world, but most of them need vessels in order to take their form. The evil gods that appear in this game are Mother Goddess Tira and destruction god Uruk. Tira is the one who breathed life into the world and the one who created elemental magic, but she got very angry because humans started using her magic in a bad way, so she wanted to wipe everyone out of this world. So Notun sent Bias to fight with Tira, which Bias came out on top with a really decisive victory because of her powerful dragons and titans. And this battle got Tira see away in different worlds. And finally, destruction god Uruk is a kind of tragic god compared to the rest. He once was a child of Notun and also took part in a battle against Tira along with Bias before, and after that battle, he falls in love with a woman, so he throws away the god status and turns into human. But then she got involved in wars between nations and got killed by the hand of humans. So he harbors eternal hatred towards humans and decided to drink Bias' blood to gain the ability to make 4 dragons for himself. Then he pledged his loyalty to Tira, who promised to revive his lover back to life, but was defeated in a battle with Solius and got his soul sucked away for good. And now in recent times, his servants called Roundtable Knights are trying to find secret treasures to revive Uruk back again. And that's everything you should know about the lore. So when I tried to register as an official adventurer at the guild, we met with the Team Gobu Gobu as they too are trying to register as well, but they escaped before I could catch them. So I continue exploring this city. The main landmark here would be this clock tower in the center of Liberdam, and this giant arena where you can fight and earn money. And once you win a number of consecutive fights, you can enter the main fight, which I never did, but I have read you can gain ability to dual whip if you beat the champion here, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Also, Liberton has a district where the rich merchant live and a seaport. At seaport, we called out to the team Gobu Gobu again, but they ran away to Sage Forest. But first, the ship stopped at Ancient, so I took my time exploring the city as usual, and here is the summary. There is a charge from the cutscene where the stained glass breaks. There is a ruin left from the battle with Demon King and the heroes. Digger Empire is located in Ancient. There is a moon tower which will be important later, a graveyard, and lastly, Magic Academy where half of its school premises is destroyed from the explosion caused by Yuri's, one of the students there, and so she is now expelled from the academy. After taking my time exploring the city, I finally head out to the Sage Forest. I met with Team Gobu Gobu again, and it is revealed that they are looking for happiness, and so they ask the sage to provide that to them. But the sage tells them to find that themselves, and so Goblin runs away without returning back the Holy Grail. But we arrive a little too late, and Aireen lost her temper and start attacking the sage, so he had to put Aireen in her place by beating her up completely. After she cools down, the sage invites her to the tea party and spend the night inside the mansion. This mansion is called Cat Mansion, and this cat is Nemea, one of the roundtable knights of Uruk and the owner of Holy Grail. Turns out, one of the village called Mist that enshrined another secret treasure was burned to the ground by another roundtable knight just that morning, so Nemea tricked the goblin into bringing the Holy Grail out of Rosto and ultimately saving our town. That night, we also get to know Aireen likes our protagonist, and of course, he just had to be sleeping right at this very moment of all things. So, rest in peace, character development. Next morning, the sage introduced the portal where you can summon and switch out members from the stock. It is a bit inconvenient to always come here to switch your team members, but I have read you can change the members from the menu screen in its Plus version for PSP, which is far more convenient than this one. But this is the end of the tutorial, and from now on, the world is finally ours to explore however I want. First, I visit Terrane. It is here I got two of my team members, Lelula Rondon and Lelubi, and Fetty, an elf. I mainly use Rondon to open treasure chests and Fetty as mage. Then I head to Rosen, but the city door is closed so I cannot enter yet, so I go to Urukan next. This town is populated with Khons race who have horns on their forehead. Like elf, they are also facing low population rate since humans like to hunt them for their horns as their amazing healing properties. And Shamu Haza is the town elder that oversees both the town and Fire Maiden. According to NPCs, this old man is so strict, people haven't even seen Fire Maiden's face for 20 years. Then I visit Dwarf Kingdom, where I recruit Delgado. If you have Rondon on your team, you can recruit him on spot. This guy is a tank, and I don't really like tanks in any games, so I put it in the stocks now for later use. When I got back to Rosto, I saw a request put up by a little girl who wants somebody to take back her doll that Tarujuba stole from her. I felt sorry for the little girl, so I took the request despite the reward being 3 pennies. But before I get to the slam, an event trigger. The event features Elfas who worship Norton and Nashes who worship Dragon King. Elfas make appearance in every single town I go to, and he is always trying to tell people about the war-ending prophecy and tries hard to make everyone believe in him. So after stopping the fight between these two, I go inside the slums, and there I find yet another Lelubi. After saving her from these creepy guys, she asks if she could join my party. I was actually going to say yes, but I pressed the wrong button, so there goes another team member. But this is not the event I want, so I go outside the slums and re-enter again to trigger the little girl event. In this event, Tarujuba comes into the slum once again with a monster, but this time I get out of the house to face him instead of hiding. To take back the door for the client. But I lost the fight in front of everybody, and Zenetes has to come in and save the day for us. Tarujuba managed to run away, but we did get info that the door is with Tiana right now inside the castle. And turns out, Zenetes knows the hidden way to go inside the castle, and so I follow his direction and I come out of the closet inside Tiana's bedroom. Just what kind of relationship does Zenetes have with Tiana? But this is Tiana, and she is the daughter of Empress Iris. She seems to be engaged with a man who I presume to be Zenetes from reading her description, but I cannot confirm that because I didn't choose to follow her route. I mean, I would if I could, but the thing is, I couldn't. Anyway, I got the doll back from Tiana and returned it back to the little girl. And then I took 3 pennies from her, so everything ends well in the end. Then I visited Noble Town, and for some reason, no one likes to talk to me, so I guess I will never know the reason. That said, the only noteworthy thing about this place is that this place is where Duke Ramon lived, and he is childhood friend of Tiana, as well as a sworn enemy of our mother Ares. I'm not sure if Ares is Tiana's real mother or not, but judging from how she doesn't give any reaction at all, even when Ramon talks about his plan to kill her mother in front of her. So I definitely would like to think Ares and Tiana are not blood related. Next, I go back to Liberden and meet with Esther, who says she is visiting Liberden for the first time and she is amazed by the clock tower that functions by using magic. Then I go to the guild to report my request, but instead I fight Nemea, a hero who defeated Demon King and have recently left Emperor of Dinga Empire, Eddie Mark. And then after hearing the news about Dark Elf sighting, me and Nemea decide to find her. Here's the fun fact about Elf. So when Elf become angry, they turn into Dark Elf, and once they turn into Dark Elf, they got exiled from their own forest and will get hunted by humans outside. So their life can just turn into a living hellscape overnight. Seriously, it must have sucks to be elves in this game because they can even become angry. And anyway, this dark elf is called Oifi, and her sister was killed by adventurer, so she went revenge on them, and here she is. So to cool her down, we get to fight with her, and after the fight, when Oifi asked Nemea what to do with her life, Nemea just told her to continue living, and after that, Nemea left and Oifi followed after him. I can lose to Nemea with the contest of recruiting people, so I head to Amira next to find anyone I can recruit. Amira is far away from the capital and they can never hope for assistance from the neighboring country, so they instead made their own defense force to fight out against monsters and pirates. But turns out, pirate has been inactive for a while and things has been unusually peaceful around these parts, leaving town's defense force with nothing to do. But that peaceful image suddenly falls apart after I see half of the inn destroyed in explosion. By explosion, it could only means one person, and that's Yuris, an express student from the Magic Academy. She is currently working at the inn to pay back her debt and begs me to buy her off with 3,000 gold, which unfortunately I didn't have at that time, so I had to spend some time doing requests to save money. I kept going around doing quests for a while until one night I got the hint that Irene might be planning to Daisy a party soon because she started talking about following her own path to become a female knight and stuff, which honestly got me worried because at this point in the game, she's the only main damage dealer in my party. But finally, I saved enough money and now Yuri is on our party, for better or worse. Yuri is an oddity among all of the characters in Zill O'll because both of my attitude and attire, and not to mention that magic stick from Magical Girl anime makes her stick out like a sore thumb amidst all this dark fantasy setting of Zill O'll. But she is an irreplaceable asset to my team because she is a mage and I will need her again for a different reason later. But for now, let's continue with the game. Then on the way, I encounter these guys who start attacking us out of nowhere, and now I get to find out why, so I follow them. Then I find the girl trying to pull the sword stuck in the ground because the wandering prophet called Elphas said to do so. She is nowhere, and although we can see her, I cannot talk to her yet, so I went ahead and fight yet another set of these guys. And then when you come out, this happens. Alright, let's go. What's going on? Do I have to enter the fight? Bro, if I have to enter another fight like this, man, it doesn't even let me save. Oh, a full motion graphic. Oh, bro, she looks. What the hell? Is it a Zoe down? Turns out, the sword she pulled was the sword that was stealing a monster called Soida, and now it has been released, it proceeds to suck out everyone's soul except hers. And then I got caught up in the fight for no reason once more. I thought I was done for sure, and God knows when was the last time I saved inside this game. Thankfully, I did came out of that battle unscathed, but this was indeed the moment I started reminding myself to save often throughout the game. After that incident, Noelle was filled with guilt, so she tried to take her own life. but I stopped her and told her to continue living. Sound familiar enough? And so thanks to me, Nemea got motivated again and decided to go on the journey of her own in order to return everyone's souls again. After that, I do some more dungeon exploration inside that dragon cave, and there I met with another hero, Enkidu, who once fought alongside with Nemea against the demon king, and he wants me not to try and pick a fight with a dragon, which I wasn't going to try it anyway, but thanks for the warning. It was during this time I figured opening chests is better than not opening, so I switch out Freddy with Rondon and start focusing on pulling that Lunar Shadow Soul as fast as I can, in order to get those OP items which unbeknownst to me comes in clutch in the late game. Then somewhere along the way, we got challenged by the guy from Borudan race, Cedric, but I beat his ass so quick, even Nemea arrived late to the scene. Borudan race, by the way, are master brain dumbass who likes hard labor more than anything. And so it is no surprise that they live the shortest out of all races in Zill, while Elf takes the #1 spot. The next destination is Arculius, and to reach this town, you have to take a boat, and thank God it is all for free. And on the way, you see this. Is it called Sendai? Yep, let's go. So if I ride the boat, I will have the full motion video. I'm going to the walkthrough side. It looks like an Azumi. Those things are Mizuchi, who served to protect Arculius, and the one who tamed them was this water maiden from Arculius. Other than the fact that she is an orphan just like the protagonist, I was not able to get that much info on her at all, so on to the next place. Arnotu once was a city, but now it is all in ruins, and that's all because of one man who made another guy mad, and that mad guy destroyed this place. I swear I was talking to every NPC I see, and this is all I can gather about this place. But at least I get to talk to this priest and this flying monster Iske. Iske is actually one of the Tira's daughter, but the priest decides he wants to befriend him instead of killing so that he can free Iske from the cycle of hatred. And the priest did that by shrinking the Iske's size, and Iske agreed to do it voluntarily, and now it is happily playing with these children. I wanted to know more about these two, but unfortunately I was swept away with a current of history too far that by the time I get to see Iske again, it is not the same anymore. Next, I got back to Rostov and planned to spend the night there, and during that night I met with a darkness giant and then got destroyed by it. But when I was about to lose conscience, a twin and a 6-con guy came to rescue me. I wish it was all a nightmare, but unfortunately everything was real. Next, I go back to Liberdan and met Esther again in front of the arena this time. She is here to watch the match, so in hopes to impress her, I do enter the match and got my ass whooped within the first match. And so to wash away my embarrassment, I go to the bar to drink, and there I met with Enkidu, who tells about the dragon extermination request which have been popping up quite a lot recently in guild by the client named Charlie. After that, as if the Sky God Nocturne was giving me another chance, I met with Esther again on the same day, and so without thinking much, I went between the men who looks like they are bothering Esther and proceed to fight them, only to get my ass whooped for a second time on the same day. After 20 plus hours of going around exploring, the only place left to explore now is Erus, which is located on an isolated island. In Erus, the Wind Maiden is everything. She is the reason wind blows, and her orders are so absolute that if she said to kill a child, people have to kill a child with no question asked. She can also see future, and yes, you can come here to seek her if you don't know what to do next for the history to progress. But the path to her temple is swarming with dragons, and you literally have to risk your life to come and meet her. Plus, she has a pet dragon behind her, so I can only imagine just how strong she is. But still, I had to say, it is very unusual to see wind element as the strongest and not fire element. So after I barely survived myself trying to meet Wind Maiden, I rest at the inn only to meet her once again at night, making me relive my nightmares. After meeting her once more, I get to know how she has no autonomy over her life, just like Fire Maiden, who has been kept under watchful eye of the Khans elder for the entirety of her life without letting her see any outsiders at all. It seems like all 4 maidens in Zill O'll have it rough. Dwarf story. But that's the end of my journey across the continent, and it is finally time to progress the game. So back at the bar in Ancient, After acquiring NPCs there, the Team Gobu Gobu makes their appearance once more, but then runs away promptly. After that, you can start encountering them randomly on the way. After that, I visit the graveyard to trigger some more offense. This is Gizav, and according to this Dwarf story, Demon King Baro had a prophecy by Zill O'll one day, which says Gizav will one day rule Dinka Empire, which he doesn't want it to happen, so he captured every members of Gizav and ourselves included, and let Roundtable Knight Magos kill them. Nemea did came to defeat Magos, but only managed to save Gizav in the end, and later after that, Gizav graduated from a magic academy and later became an outstanding civil servant. It seems like not all people born to noble family have it good for once. The story from this dwarf was so good, I had to visit again in the graveyard to listen to him one more time. And this time, it's about head priest of Notun Temple, Izu, who is famous for her beauty across the continent. And it was Nemea who got ordered by Dinka Emperor Erima to kidnap Izu, who is also the leader of a sense organization called Semoin. But no matter how you look at it, this is basically a death sentence for Nemea. So even if he succeeds in kidnapping, his reputation as a hero still will be tarnished. And if he were to refuse, he would get executed on spot, so it was a lose-lose situation for Nemea no matter what. So he did what he had to do and succeeded in kidnapping her without getting killed whatsoever. And thus, Erima made Izu his empress and tried to make her love him, but to no avail. And instead, Izu falls for Nemea and so incoming Dinka Empire Erima. So he killed Izu out of jealousy and also ordered another death sentence for Nemea. So I guess it makes sense for Nemea to leave Emperor after all this. It also could be Izu got revenge on Nemea for kidnapping her, but no one will know. Then when I enter the graveyard again in hopes of meeting the dwarf, I meet with this lady instead. This is Enge Shaya, one of the roundtable knight for Uruk, and she smells like a total bad news. She is searching for Holy Grail, so she tries to mind read me and nearly killing me in the process. But thanks to these random NPCs, I survived to live another day. Wait, isn't she the same woman from the last time? Rosen, Karla. I was lying when I said that exploration was over, because turns out I can now enter Rosen, which door was closed before, but now with Karla forcing her way inside the city, we can enter this place together with her. Karla says she is here because she heard a nasty rumor coming from Rosen's ruler, Peuda. So after going through an underground path to reach Peuda, we found out he had been kidnapping 10 to 20 guests from nearby villages and having fun with them, and then once he had his fill, he threw them into the monster pit and feed them to monster. If Peuda is not the worst of the worst, I don't know what is anymore. After that event, I then got absolutely inspired by Karla, one because Karla becomes a female knight role model, and two because both of them basically have the same fashion sense. Then I went back to Ancient to climb the Moon Tower, and on top of that tower, I find this thing. He is Sharon, and apparently, he once was a guy who tried to revolutionize humanity, which caught the attention of Dragon King, and now he is in this petrifying state. But before we left this place, he warned us that we too will one day face the Dragon King if we become too strong. Then in Libadan, I met Esther again. She apologized for not saying anything and left the last time. And she asks you to help find the necklace inside the desert, which seems like a nigh impossible task to do, but she entrusts you with a crystal which responds to her necklace, so it was doable. Then after I gave her back the item, she thanks us and said to pay her back with her body, which of course means joining our party. Back at the Ancient, near the ruins, I met Zill O'll, who is in trouble, but this is the dude who once walked with the Demon King Baro before, but now he is just a useless old dude that live in this rundown shed. Also he says, but the clothes he is wearing says otherwise. Zill O'll says it is destiny that we will have to fight him later again, so I guess I will quietly leave for now. Then I continue exploring dungeon. I find this forest near the coast, and once I reach the end, I got attacked by pirates, and turns out this is the hideout of pirates that people from Amira were talking about. Nemea's plan. The leader of the pirate then takes her to a room and make a deal that if you were to defeat the Kraken that is blocking their sea route, they promise to let us use their ship whenever we want to reach the places across the sea where normal ships cannot. So I tried to beat the Kraken for 3 times straight and kept getting one shot by it, even after I have upgraded the armor. I mean, the guy with the upgrade armor did survive, but there is still no damage to kill this thing, so I gave up and just thought enough is enough and decided to proceed the game. I don't even remember when, but the guild master did request me to go and investigate the darkness that has appeared in the fortified city some time ago. And once I get there, the main event got triggered with us getting sucked into the darkness. No matter how you look at this place, it doesn't look like an early game dungeon, and surely enough, I got spawn killed as soon as I arrived. Good thing Nemea came to save me and even joins the team to carry you throughout the dungeon, and also returns you back to the real world to show how great of a bro Nemea is. After that, Estelle then says she has stuff to do and left the party for the first time, and many times more to come in the future. She is unreliable in that aspect, but I like her as a character so much, I have to tolerate at least that much. Then Weasel's history will start turning, with Nemea returning back to Dinga Empire and asks the Empire Edimark a question, to which Edimark answers around, so Nemea kills off the Empire as he recognized Edimark has been possessed by the darkness, and he was right at that. Immediately after that, Nemea took the place of his uncle Edimark and ascended to the throne, and then assigned 4 generals under his command and gave them different missions. General Gambu, Giza to take control of the city, General Biago, Jira to attack Arculius, General Seiryu, Karla to attack Lebanon, and General Susaku and Giru then to attack Rostov. Then Nemea declared war against the entire continent, and thus begins the Age of Chaos. The pacing of the story only gets faster from this point onward, and this is where the game starts to get good. I say that, but I intentionally chose to not proceed the game until now, but honestly, I don't think I will be able to beat the game at all if I didn't take my time and prepare everything I need in the early game. Age of Chaos. One night, Yuri started talking about Unia's spell, and she said she went to rediscover that spell to be accepted back at the academy again. Unia's spell is a hidden magic that is locked behind Yuri's storyline. It is a little while to get it, but I say it is worth it. Then an urgent request came from Arculius to hire mercenary to defend the city against Dinga Empire. I don't know what to do at that time, so I just decided to become a mercenary for the day. After fending off 3 enemies in a row, I took my reward and leave the place. And among the enemies, I find the 6-gone guy walking a mercenary just like me, and also water maiden trying to heal the enemies. Aside from that, nothing happened, so I returned back to my usual stuff. And while I was visiting the guild in Rostov one day, the guy who came to take Estelle appeared again, but this time they explained they are from Lazarus and reveal Estelle as their chief leader, and that if she doesn't return back in a month, the entire Lazarus will sink into the desert. So they asked me to help find it with her, because only I have the crystal that can react to necklace she is wearing. And then I find this guy who have a grave injury, and he asked to defeat the monster who killed his friends inside the fortified city. I felt sorry for this guy, so I told the request, but he didn't even say a word back to me, even after I told the money in advance. Then in Ancient, I met Noah inside the guild, and this time, she had formed her own party along with Caffeine, Revu, and Nashes. After a short introduction to our party members, she left. Then I quickly cleaned up all the requests I need to do and hurry off to find Estelle. And when I find her being held captive by this girl, Charlie, she said if I can defeat this monster, she promised to release Estelle. So I took on the challenge, but all it took was one hit from Shadow Aura and down goes the monster. The reason I'm not showing any better footage up until now is because ever since I pushed Naga Vanadia's soul and unlocked Shadow Aura, I have been one-shotting monster left and right without much thought. So I decided to talk only about fights that I have most trouble with, or fights that made me use my head a bit. After I saved Estelle, she took me to a hidden capital, Lazarus, where they use advanced magic technology to live inside desert and not worry about a single thing. And here, I don't need to go around the town, and every facility can easily be accessed by using these teleport panels. It also had its own water storage and food storage. Hell, they even made their own food down here, so everything is convenient. But still, Estelle doesn't like that, and she doesn't want to stay here for the rest of her life because she wants to explore the world and become an adventurer just like us. She also mentions that Lazarus is not in a fully functioning state just yet, and it will only activate fully once all 4 maidens gather in this place. And after this event, I decided to switch Rondon with Estelle to see what she can do. But after testing her, it appears I have made a huge mistake for turning her into a physical attacker rather than a mage. So when I decided I want to take her off the party, she said to never forget her and call her back for more adventures in the future. That line made me feel bad for removing her for the party, so I made up my mind to take her until the end of the game. Holy Grail. Next, I get a request to start gathering secret treasure by the client called Nemea. I did do the request and I totally forgot about it after a while. There are so much stuff happening in this game at this point, so it can be helped. And on the way, I find Noel party getting attacked by the grail assassin. Turn out they are from Samoan, a grail assassin who worship Notu. And throughout the game, they kept getting attacked by Samoans, and I don't know why, as I never managed to get to the roots of it. After a while, the history progresses, showing Karla destroying Rosen and massacring the entire family of Peuda, giving her the title Blue River. Then I remember I had to kill the monster to avenge for that injured guy, so I head to the 45 city next. Here, I found a masked man and he gave his hand in fighting the monster that lives here, which turned out to be one of the Tira's daughter. But the monster doesn't really live up to his name because I was able to one-shot it with Shadow Aura. After that, he left the party and set our camps into scene. This man forcefully enters the party whether I want to or not and proceeds to follow the masked man. Honestly, this is the only character I met in the game that is a really good physical attacker, so I have no problem with having it on board. And when we are about to leave this place, Shaya appeared once again, and it seemed like the masked man, Shaya and Sarah had something going on with each other. Then I went back to report, but turns out the client is no longer alive, and according to the game master, he was already dead by the time I took the request. Thinking back at it, I would have really felt horrible if I didn't do this request, especially after I took his money. That night, Shari appears before me and Esther and reveals Esther is an elf maiden, which Esther herself didn't even know. And that depressed the hell out of her because her dream of becoming an adventurer has now become pretty much impossible to achieve. Next, I head back to the pirate base to fight with the Kraken again, now that my levels are high enough. And now everyone was able to tank at least one hit, and all it takes me is 2 Shadow Auras to take it down. Even though this Kraken was supposed to be one of the late game monsters. And on my way back, I get to fight with Team Gobu for like what, at that time? But this is the final time we will get to see them because after this, we finally managed to get the Holy Grail back. But when their leader tries to steal it again, the big guy and the little guy stop him because they are happy with the way they are right now and they no longer need Holy Grail anymore. 3 of them agrees and after telling us to take care, they left. And as if the masked man was waiting for this timing, he appeared as soon as we got the Holy Grail and trying to take it from us by getting near to us. But too bad Sarah is on my team. Or more like, too bad Yuris is on my team because she one-shot him with 1 Shadow Aura. And then some epic fights happens. I hope so, because all I could see are these flashing lights. To be quite frank, you get a better picture of what is happening inside the games from imagining all by yourself than looking at these special effects. Zill feels in visual presentation department, which to be fair, this is where most JRPG fails as well, and as far as I know, only games at Final Fantasy caliber can only carry the visual while also being a JRPG at the same time with FMVs. Zill does have a few FMV segments here and there, but I can say it was enough. After the fights, Shaya fires magic at me because I had a beloved masked man, but Aireen instead took it from me and disappeared after that. So yeah, there goes Aireen. And immediately after that, Esther couldn't have picked a better time to leave, so it's all me and Yuris now. I don't think I want to progress the game in this state, so I'ma do other stuff while I patiently wait Esther to return. My dear Chryseis. And while I am at it, I'm going to create a sword by following Dega's storyline. First, I talk to Dega at night inside the inn, and then trigger another event at the bar. Then I went to Fire Mountain to take the field sword made by his friend, but I don't know much about the sword, so I asked Zofo about it. Surprisingly enough, the sword had its own lore behind it, but it is irrelevant to the main plot, so I'm just gonna leave it out entirely. All you need to know is this sword is called Scarlet Blade, and that's it. So while I was trying to make the sword, Suzaku army led by Enkidu charged for Rosto, which is defended by zenetes. But since Rosto are on bad terms with its neighboring country, no one comes to help them, especially Duke Remo, because he hates Empress Edis. During the war, zenetes' father was in charge of the main force, and because he did not listen to zenetes, he soon falls in battle. So while Enkidu was looting rations from the town after the Suzaku army's first victory against Rosto, zenetes launched a surprise attack on them during that night, wiping the entire army out of the map and killing Enkidu in the process. And so Dinka Empire also took their first L that same day. After this comes my favorite questline of Zill O'll. So back at the guild, I got a request from the client to deliver wine to the merchant Roti, and without knowing much, I did just that, and turns out the wine was actually poison and so killed Roti. So the next day, I got surrounded by a bunch of men brought along with Roti's daughter, Chryseis, and her uncle Antino, who came to arrest me on suspicion of Antino's attempt murder. Which, let's be real, it has to be this guy that sets all this up, and spoilers, I was right in the end. But anyway, I was really gonna get thrown inside that dungeon if Zenetes didn't come and save me, so at least things got settled for now. But still, is it Zenetes participating in the war right now? What is he doing here of all places? After that, on my way back to rest at the inn, I got a shitty request for Shari, telling me to go get the sacred eye that can make blind people regain their sight. This present is apparently for one of the princess in Rostov, and it is revealed that aside from Tiana, there is another princess called Estia. Shari says Estia lost her sight during a fight between nobles years ago, and she had been living in darkness ever since. This character Estia is the reason I wanted to replace Zill the most, as our route only opens up after you have finished the game once. But for now, let's continue with whatever route I can get. Next day, one more city request comes out and I had to do it even though it is definitely another trap set up by Chryseis and Antino again. So this time, I get to deliver item to Rostov. And on the way, I get attacked by the six-corn guy and his sisters. Surprisingly enough, I had a hard time trying to beat the twins as they keep insta-killing one member each every turn, and I only made it out the fight barely. But no matter what, the end result is the same, and he still managed to steal the item from us. So now I have failed Chryseis' request and also in debt, so I got to fight in the arena to repay back to Chryseis. So I still got thrown inside the dungeon anyway. But what's even worse, you are now handcuffed by a strange magic device that teleports you straight back to the arena whenever you sleep at night. So it was like an endless nightmare. But after winning 3 matches, she thought I would be better off using as a mercenary, so she took off the handcuff and assigned me with a mission to deliver a message to Revolution Army hideout. The purpose of Revolution Army she created is to take back Rosen from Karla, and with that I have somehow found myself caught up in the middle of the war. Although she had been setting up the trap like these in spite for doubting the protagonist as her father's murderer before, she started acknowledging protagonist's strength after his deeds at the arena. But of course, she won't just admit it because she is a tsundere noble lady. And so, while I am on this errand, I entered Rosen, which is all in ruins now, and after Karla's invasion. But what I didn't expect was to find Aireen, who is now sided with Karla. So it appears, after Karla saved Aireen from Angishaya, she has decided to walk her own path to become a female knight she so dreamed of. So go for her and bad for me. I was prioritizing to find her, but because of her response, I was mad at his in-game character for betraying the protagonist's childhood friendship, so I decided to part ways with her right here. After I have done my errands, delivering message to the spies in hideout, I returned back to Chryseis to report, and now she totally believes in the protagonist and thinks he is no longer the culprit. But our uncle Antino hates that and decides to send the protagonist to die in the next battle by letting his party act as a diversion for the main revolution army to enter Rosen. Chryseis was against the plan at first, but she doesn't plan to defy her uncle's decision any further, so in the end, the protagonist had to set out to Rosen despite knowing the danger this mission brings with it. But once we get there, turns out Karla is already aware of the movement within Revolution Army and corners us immediately. So with last resort, the protagonist quickly thinks of a way to let other people know that the plan has failed by ringing the bell at the top of the tower. And he did manage to save Revolution Army from getting annihilated completely in exchange for his life, but the protagonist's luck came to clash thankfully. But you are drawing your sword towards me, huh? Bro, is it movie time? It's movie time, let's go! Yo, goosebumps. That was short, but it was hype. Yeah, right, yeah, this game is the best. After that, Karla scored Aireen because she looked like she was about to cut Karla down if she were to suffer the road while we were gliding, which means Aireen is still unsure of her decision just yet. But that does not matter a bit, for this was indeed the complete turning point for these childhood friends, and it will never be the same again when they meet the second time. The next thing we know, we have safely returned back to Ancient, thanks to Noel and Revon. And according to Revon, since they were able to know the movement of Revolution Army, the inside info must have been leaked by quite a lot. After I report back our safety to Chryseis, I officially became the member of Revolution Army, also known as the Bear Hero. A lame name to be fair, but I will take it. The next day, when she was about to get assassinated, the protagonist arrived in time and was able to save her. Then when the protagonist ran after the killer, he recognized the man entering her uncle's house. But when he told that to Chryseis, she got mad at him for doubting her uncle, so he left the room feeling disappointed. To which Chryseis regretted because she let him go without even thanking him once. So next time when he visited her, she decided to pay a visit to her uncle's house along with him, and surely enough, it was Antino all along. Apparently, he wants to get rid of her just like her father, and he was also the one who was selling info to Karla about the movement of Revolution Army. And right at that moment, Zeru army invades Lebanon, and everyone has to escape ASAP. Antino managed to get away all by himself, but Chryseis cannot, so the protagonist has to escort her safely out of this mess. After that, overlooking the now ruined Lebanon from afar, Chryseis, now with no one to turn to anymore, she leans towards the protagonist and starts to cry. These scenes were beautiful, and it was this moment that Chryseis became my waifu material for me. Chryseis' storyline was what made me realize how good the character writing in Zill O'll was, and it made me feel emotions, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know, maybe I think I just like these noble and common romance stories. Yes, by the way, it's not the end of Chryseis' storyline, and sadly, I have a bad news for you in a minute. Goodbye, sister. The game then cut abruptly to see Angeshaya and Maxman getting owned by another roundtable night Vashte. I feel like I missed an entire section between this event and the previous one, as I fail to see any connection between these events. So I will just say what I saw. So we caught up to her, but she got so weak after the fight with Vashte that she only can literally throw dust at us to run away instead of using teleport spell like she always do. And then we follow her and made it to her hideout. She seems to be in a really bad mood this time, and then after we got to this room, the fight versus these two happens, which I beat them of course easily with a few blasts of shadow aura. After the fight, the mask from the Maxman got broken, and turns out he was Sarah's best friend Roy all along. I say it like I know whose Roy is, but I digress. So Roy came back to his sense one last time before he dies, and he was just glad that he was able to die by the hands of his friend Sarah. Angeshaya is also gone and Sarah's sister is back, but because she is now in love with Roy, she decides to remain by his side even though she is no longer possessed by Angeshaya. Disappointed with how everything got escalated, Sarah left the party, vowing to never meet his sister again or even us. I apologize to the viewers for an inconsistent story, but that really was everything I have on Sarah's storyline. It is time like this that I wish the game was a bit more linear instead of giving me a total freedom and a bunch of ING contests, especially when the story gets interesting. Preparation. Next, I went back to Rathalos and talked with the Earth Spirit, and it says if I defeat the Titan Furuf that is sealing her, she can grant power to Esther. So I did that, and Esther's intelligence and mind stat went up by 20. This is the moment I regret not raising her as a mage, because now she is just a hybrid character that excels in nothing at all. But still, maiden clothes on Esther suits her well, so I guess it was worth the trouble. After I awakened Esther, the history progressed with Jirak successfully putting Achilles under his control with the head of Shari. And as for the compensation for the battle, she asked for Water Maiden in return. I took her away somewhere, but we still don't know her reason behind it just yet, or Shari as a character in general. After all those weird tangents, I went back to making the Scarlet Blade again, and to do that, I need to have both Fatty and Delga on the team and head to the bar to trigger another event. So I did that, and the next thing we need to do is head back to Fire Mountain. The process of making the blade was weird. So Delga need to craft the sword at the foot of the mountain, while I have to keep praying for his success in front of this magma. So after excruciating hours of overheating myself inside this tiny space, the blade is finally done. So goodbye Delga forever. Esther, no! Then when I went back to meet Chryseis, who asked me to go and get money that is hidden by rich merchant because she is going to need those money in order to fund the revolution army now that her entire asset and inheritance are all gone. Basically, Chryseis is now broke, and my pity for her skyrocketed at this moment. So I went to the place where the money is at, but turns out I cannot beat these many calls that are guarding the storage no matter how hard I try. So I give up and realize Esther hasn't returned back in a long time. And surely enough, the next day, Judith comes running to me one day and says Esther has been kidnapped once more by Charlie. So by using a crystal to locate her, we quickly found out that she is in Radores. I cannot describe the adrenaline rush I was having during this event, because I just can't keep losing team members while I am this close to finishing this game. So needless to say, I was in a rush. And then of course more event has to get in my way when I needed them the least. So I just chose to ignore everything and just beeline towards Radores. So there I get to fight with Shadi, who is trying to reactivate Radores into Sky City by using the power of 4 maidens whom she had kidnapped. Her fight was difficult, and I swear I will not be able to beat her, or really the entirety of endgame, without the items that resist or negate dark magic, which you can get from treasure chests scattered across this continent. But at this point in game, I only have a single item that negates dark magic, and I tried putting it on the protagonist to see how it actually works. And surely enough, he was the only one who can survive her demolish attack, while everyone dies in one hit. After I beat her, she runs away and tells us that if we don't save the maiden in 15 minutes, we'll all die of Radores crashing into the ground. So I quickly ran past all the monsters and reached the end and fight with this sentient system. After that, every maiden is safe, but we still need to stop Radores from crashing, so Esther took everything under her control by herself, but exhausting all of our energy in the process. After a while, Radores lands safely, and we two managed to teleport from that place, but Esther, she didn't seem to make it. Also, they said, but I didn't want to believe them, so I figured I need to go check Radores once more. But of course, in true Zill O'll fashion, more events kept getting in my way, and this time it is from this lady Nemea. She claims herself as sister of Nemea and starts to tell us about her backstory. So Demon King Baro's daughter had a child, but because Zopho's prophecy says the child of her daughter will kill him one day, so the Demon King killed off his own daughter before the baby was born and throws her body away in the forest. But the sage found the body and saved the child inside her womb, and that child is Nemea. And the same thing goes for Nemea as well. She was born as half human and half elf, so she was exiled from her forest and also got adopted by the sage in the end. But the main reason she is here is to ask me to prevent her brother from killing the sage because he has sacred treasure in his possession and Nemea is coming to get it. I don't even get to say no to her request and got immediately transported to the camp mansion without my consent. And surely enough, Nemea arrived to kill the sage, and the fight ends with some flashlight here and there, with the sage disappearing in the end. But no, turns out the sage managed to put his soul inside one of the cat's body at the last second near the mansion and was able to live somehow. But whether how he does it or how it makes sense doesn't matter to me one bit, for the thought of looking at that is the only thing that was clouding my mind at this time. So as soon as I regained control of my character, I quickly made my way toward Radores. And it was a huge relief to find Esther somehow still kept alive by a spirit, but in exchange to bring her back from being held captive by the spirit, I had to defeat another titan, Pandare, to free the spirit completely. So I did that, and now Esther is back to us again. Yay! But Esther was not too happy about it because freeing her meant freeing the spirit, and freeing the spirit meant helping Tira revive back into this world in a way. So she was worried that I did the wrong thing. But at the same time, she was also glad that I saved her, so I guess everything ends well in the end. Honestly, I don't care how many times Tira came back to life, but or more like, I didn't have enough context to care for it, so good for me. Also, I get to hear Esther talking about how she will still disappear in the end, and how she wanted to enjoy the short time she have left in this world and whatnot, both of which I didn't want to witness or hear, so I made a conscious decision to actively try not to see her ending no matter what, because I am pretty sure it will not end well. And so I chose to remove her from the party entirely to effectively keep her alive in my head forever. But there is not enough time for me to keep pondering, because the history has progressed once again, with Karla's announcement to invade Rostov next. Union Spell. Okay, now that I got the Scarlet Blade, all that's left is to unlock Union Magic. Union Magic is a stronger magic in this game, and they can only be unlocked by following Yuri's storyline. And to do that, I head over to the Moon Tower and meet Shadow on the top. He talks about Manon being the creator of Union Spell, and if I want to get it, he will be more than happy to open the barrier for us, while also warning about how Dragon King will come and kill me if I get too strong, because it does not want to upset the balance of power in this war. After discussing the matter with Yuri that night, we set off to get the Union Spell the next day. I have switched Esther with Fetty, and now I have 2 mages on my team. And in order to get Union Spell, there is a condition that only characters that have full Agastia's soul can update Union Spell. That night, Yuri was overjoyed, and so I took her to the academy the next day, and academy welcomes her back with open arms. But she doesn't want to let her freedom go away just yet, so she promised to return back again after she had finished adventure with me. Thank God Yuri didn't leave the party here, or else I'm doomed for good. But that's everything about Yuri's storyline. Her sole existence is to unlock Union Spell and get her signature move, Explosion. The actual name is Energy Bolt, but come on, Explosion sounds cooler. It also felt really satisfying to see that everything comes back in a saga for Yuri's in the end. After that, I tried grinding one last time before entering the endgame, and then one day, Noah's party came to visit me at the inn and tell us they are disappointed that I had ignored the request of Estia, and so they had to take the request instead. Honestly, I totally forgot about the request while I was playing the game because I was so invested with Esther and Chryseis' storyline. I hope this does not come and bite me again later. Zenetes. Talk about Chryseis, I have a bad news for the viewers. So I went back to defeat the Manticores, which I cannot earlier, pretty easily now that I have Explosion. Then after I have delivered the money to Chryseis, I was supposed to go to the bar to Rostov to trigger her next event. But instead, I went inside the guild and accidentally triggered Zenetes' event instead. And that puts me on a completely different route, and I had to say goodbye to Chryseis here. Pretty anticlimactic, but this was exactly what happened during my playthrough. Too bad I really wanted to go for an ending, but oh well, I guess I just have to suck it up and continue. So Zenetes asked for help to fight alongside with them in the upcoming war with Zill army. But his army has already lost almost all of its strength from the war with Suzaku army before, and with no reinforcements for neighboring towns, he had to think of a different strategy. So with the help of Cisco guy, he spread the false rumor that Nemea is dead to shake the mentality of soldiers from the Zill army. And it proved to be effective, so Zenetes is going to use this opportunity to launch another surprise attack on them. And in the meantime, he wants us to go and fend off the monster near Rostov, so I went ahead and unexpectedly find Nemea there. So I followed him, and along the way, I found this random sword called Dragon Bone Blade inside the treasure chest, and its attack damage is even higher than that of the Scarlet Blade, which means I have totally wasted my time doing all those Delga storyline. So Nemea is finding sacred treasure as usual, and now he needs another one from this guy. But just when Nemea was about to defeat him, I got in the way and Nemea has to take the attack for me, and this sent him straight towards the darkness wall, and now it looks like I have made the false rumor become reality. After I report back to Zenetes, he asks me to go for Karla's head while they try to hold off against the army, and that they only have one shot with this surprise attack. So I did just that, and after breaking through wave of enemies after enemies, I caught up to Karla in her weakened state. But Aireen appears to buy time for Karla to escape and proceed to fight me. This is the only event battle in the game that lets you run away, and it is there for a reason. So I chose to run away, and this choice made her rethink her decision all over again. I feel sorry for Aireen for giving her brain cancer all this time. But Zenetes was not very happy with Karla surviving, but in the end, he was just glad that we were able to successfully defend against Dinger's army. But shortly after the victory, some man from the noble came to arrest Zenetes for a bunch of stuff he didn't even do. I don't know what just happened, so I went to Rostov to find out. And turns out, Duke Remo has taken control of Rostov, and he had already executed Empress Ares, and soon Zenetes too. So in order to save him, I had to be quick because I have only 5 minutes. And right when I entered the town, I got stopped by this idiot from the beginning because even while he was talking, the timer didn't stop, so I started mashing my button to get away from him as fast as I can. After that, I found Tiana instead of Zenetes, so I defeat the dragon and escort her out of Rosto. At the entrance, the twin came to deliver the message of Empress Hades before she died, and apparently she asked the twins and what small amount of guards she had left to look after Tiana instead of her, leaving Hades completely unguarded when Lemon came to kill her. But even then, Tiana didn't give any reaction at all, and instead she asked me to save Zenetes and then left, because she thinks she would just be a burden for me if she stayed here any longer. So I raided the castle alone, and inside I find Ramon killing on Zenetes, and then we get to fight Zill. This dude was one of the hardest fights like the fight with Charlie before, but now I have a bunch of items that can tank against dark magic, so I was able to scrape by with just one causality. After that, Charlie appears before us and drops Zenetes into darkness just like Nemea. Then again SDR joined shortly after, which, if I recall correctly, that's the name of the blanket from the request I ignored. So this was a bit of an awkward reunion for me. But it is all too late, because now she is back for revenge to the war that was cruel to her, of which I do play a part in our revenge story, so it somehow became my responsibility to save the war in a sense. And then Ramon turns into the vampire and starts charging at them, but quickly got thrown into darkness just like Zenetes. I don't know what happened, but vampires are apparently a thing in Zill O'll. After all those change of events, I report back to Tiana, of which she again showed no reaction of. So the reason I no longer was able to trigger Chryseis' final event was because I needed Zenetes and Empress Hades to be alive, and now that both of them are gone, there is no more hope left anymore. This entire chain of events left Rosto completely open to any form of invasion, but thankfully, Rosto is now fully out of picture from the game, with the rumor finally confirmed that Nemea is dead, and thus putting both nations into a stalemate situation. Aireen. But the peace didn't last for long, as Jira started to rebel against Dinga Empire to save his own tribe from racial equality, which is no longer present now that Nemea no longer exists to put things under check. And so to put the uprising down, the Chancellor ordered Karla to carry out Jira. So with what little of an army she had left, she set off to Arunotun ASAP, together with Aireen. You know, I think somebody has to give Karla a break already. And in the meantime, I had to wait for their war to finish, so I decided to kill some time to unlock another magic called Infinite Spell. This spell deals holy damage and all, but I was supposed to get this in the early game, and it doesn't really scale well in the end game like Shadow Aura or Explosion. So it is a completely useless spell at this point in game. But Infinite Soul still gives you a great stat growth, so not everything was wasted in the end. After killing some time, it is announced that the fight is finally over with Jira getting killed in the process. Then I went to Liberton to meet with Aireen. She looks completely depressed from all the war stuff and walks away to find the answer about the existence of suffering. Now with Chryseis out of my life, I decided to switch both here once more and go after Aireen. Honestly, I am still salty to this day about Chryseis ending, but let's just stop here. So at the guild, a request came from the Karla personally to ask you to find Aireen, but the reward is no longer money and it's just a fight against stones. It just shows how much Karla has lost and weakened after all these subsequent battles after battles. To be fair, Karla was the only one that has been the most active this entire time, so it makes sense to me. I actually felt sorry for her, and you know what? As crazy as she looks, I think I might be able to fix her in her current state. But Aireen takes priority for now, so let's go and look for her. To find Aireen, I go back to the Cup Mansion to ask Nemo after I have reported the devil Nemea to his family. Kurunea was going crazy after she heard the news, but the sage not so much, as he believed Nemea stayed alive inside the darkness wall. Because in order for Uru to resurrect, he needs a vessel, and that vessel is Nemea. So he is confident that Nemea is being kept alive for that reason. Now we can go and save Nemea, but not before I recruit Aireen. After asking Nemo, we get to know that she went to the Oswald to meet Vashti. Oswald is a place that is not even on the map up until now, and when I got there, the entire village is already empty because Vashti has sucked all of their souls away. And at the end of the town, We finally find Vice there talking with Aireen. They have this long philosophical conversation about suffering, but I won't go into any details into it and pretend like I understood what they were talking about, because I genuinely cannot try and understand it, that or just any philosophical topic in general, and much less if they are in English. But anyway, I had to fight with Aireen once again and I ran away just like before. Stuff happens and now she is on my team, so mission accomplished. Yay! Then I went back to report but refused the reward from Karla, and instead I tried to persuade Karla into joining my team, but she asked me to bring her the wall if I really want to recruit her. So I promised to bring her the wall and now she is on my team. She looks strong and all, but all her stats are all over the place and like Chryseis, I have been training since the beginning. So I just left her inside the stock and only let Aireen join the team. Not that Aireen is also good either, but at least she is the fastest in my team, so there are some ways I can utilize her in better. Saving Nemea. And with that, we are finally in the endgame. To save Nemea, we need to enter the darkness wall through the dark island, which can only be reached by using the pirate ship. And when I got there, Shadi is seen holding Nemea as a captive. I still have no idea what a Chryseis is all about, and I have no clue either. But we get to fight Dark Nemea, who is fortunately only half possessed by the soul of Uruk, because the sage is actually still alive, and he was the one stopping Uruk from completely taking control of Nemea by living inside his body after he split his soul half into the cat and half into Nemea. Sounds complex, but it is what it is. After that, we have completely stopped Uruk from resurrecting for good and saved Nemea. Then we bring him back to the real world and have him rest, while we set out to finish this game. Oh, and Kurunea, she is happy now. Boss rush. The entirety of Ancient has been destroyed, and somehow the Chancellor has now been possessed by Shadow. You know, the weird petrifying thing on the top of the moon tower. Don't know what I missed, but let's just keep going. So you have to go through a long series of 5 out of 5 starting with these things. Oh, movie. Oh, did she just shit on the floor? Okay, dark giants are here. There are 2 dark giants, huh? The fight with 2 darkness giants back to back almost drained all of my resources because I had to cut through a huge chunk of health of those guys. After that, Alpha sucked all of the souls from the people who believe in him and became a god, in exchange for losing all of his senses. Okay, this same move effect again. Oh, another movie. Oh, he literally became a god, huh? Yeah, this is so cool. Bro, everybody is... He is farming all the souls. This is such a big spectacle. What the heck? I was totally gonna die for sure if I have to fight a 3rd consecutive fight, but thankfully Nemea came to rescue us, so I told her back off for now and told us to meet us at the castle next. Now with Nemea on my team, I say we are as strong as ever. I said it, but Nemea serves only as a giant meat sheet and nothing else. After all, his stats are all messed up across the board. At this point, the only fights left in this game are one-on-one fights, so in order to save some mana, I switched to Spark, a single target version of Explosion, to fight the rest. I don't know what attribute these explosive matches are, but they do a decent amount of damage to all sorts of enemies, so Union spells sure are coming into handy here. After that, Kurunea arrived to assist us, but quickly got turned off by Nemea as he asked to just stand guard in front of the castle gate while we raid the castle. Also, you can switch team member from Kurunea as well. As we are near the end, I start using invisibility spell to go past all the monsters now that I don't need to find them anymore, and I want to preserve all my resources as much as I can, because if I learn anything from this game, that is to always expect that things can go wrong at any time, so it is best to be prepared at all times. At the end, we found out Artoria has lied to us, and she is in a ruin right now, resting to recover, and not here. So these three are here to buy time for her. So first, we got to fight with Zangief, who has now totally fallen into darkness after she found out about Nemea's false death. And it is such a tragic irony that her life has ended by the same hands of Magos that killed her entire family. And even if we will defeat Magos, she will no longer return back, so rest in peace, Gizav. Even though I know nothing about you, I'm sure your storyline is sad as well. Next is the old man Zofo, nothing personal, but I absolutely destroyed his old ass with my team. This man should have gotten rid of me while I was weak way back then. Next up is Charlie, but she still wants me to play the game a bit longer, so she teleported to the ruins, and now we have to chase after her. There, the first monster we got to fight is Iske. Yes, the monster we met at Arunotun. I again missed the contrast between that and this, and now I have to face my own consequences of ignoring its offense. And now I have to kill this thing to progress whether I want to or not. Breaks my heart to do this, but I have no choice. Hell, I lost control of the entire game ever since the wheel of history starts turning, and even still now, I'm struggling to understand most of the stuff that was happening non-stop. The fights that quickly follow is a rematch with the Charlie, but I no longer had any difficulty anymore and was able to finish her off quick without any trouble this time, now that my entire team is fully equipped with negates and resists, both to dark magic and elemental magic. She also died after the fight, and the fight that followed next is this guy who sent Nemea to the darkness before. After that, I finally meet with Artoria, but before we fight her, I have to go through Dark Zenetes and Dark Lemur, but two of these fights pales in comparison with the fight that follows next. The god Elphas was hard to defeat, and I have to probably buff my team speed and debuff the god speed to be able to act ahead of the god and attack multiple times. The god does a ton of damage, but as long as I can tank his attacks for a single turn, I am fine. Because I can move faster than the god even without the buff, so I can use her to spam healing items, which I have gathered from monster drop throughout this entire game. And then after I finish buffing, I start spamming all kinds of magic at the god, and down goes the final boss. Also I thought, because that's definitely not the case, and I have to fight Noel next, or because my level was over 50 by the time I beat the supposed final boss. So now that I have become the biggest threat in the entire war that can shift the balance of power, I'm going to get eliminated by the Dragon Knight Noel. But of course, it was a reverse, for I totally destroyed our entire party with explosions, and turns out both Caffeine and Revon were once dead, and it is only by the power of Dragon King that they are kept alive until today. And so to keep them alive, Noel is here to defeat me. She wants to keep that a secret, but Nasha starts spouting those secrets out, so Revon got up and killed him. And after all three of them perished, Noel apologized and wished me good luck. A weird turn of offense, but no matters, because there is only one more obstacle remains, and that's Dragon King. This is the first fight that lasted more than 5 turns, and that says a lot. My explosion don't do much damage to Dragon King, so I have to use dual spell plus spark combos a number of times and keep chipping away its health bit by bit, while Aireen kept spamming health and mana restoring items. I buff and debuff the same just like other hard boss fights, and I kept stacking those double and triple action every turn, and finally Dragon King goes down. After rolling the credits, I got the ending of Aireen. It shows the protagonist still sleeping on the bed with full set of armor and still falling down from the bed just like at the beginning. But it is not entirely the same, because the protagonist and Aireen are now more than friends apparently. They have become best friends. Yay. But still, god, I really wish I got the ending with Chryseis instead, man. And that's the end of Zill O'll Infinite. For pros, Zill O'll gave you so much player freedom, and the fact that anything can happen at any time adds a lot of fun to the gameplay. and I think the game characters are definitely the stronger points of Zill O'll, and it is also worth investing time and learning about the lore and setting in game, as the game also seems to put effort into those areas. Battles are easy to understand and have a good gameplay loop with its soul mechanic. It also features fast battles by pressing O button rapidly to skip the animation. So definitely play Zill O'll if you are into character-driven story JRPGs with not really deep and easy to understand gameplay. For cons, Zill O'll gives you too much player freedom, and because of that, I didn't have full control of the pacing with the game for the most part, and even for the ending as well. But the Plus version lets you choose ending, so it definitely have more quality of life content compared to Infinite. And I haven't really shown it in the video, but the loading screens are insanely slow, and if it weren't for the emulator fast forward button, I don't think I can enjoy the game as much as I am right now. And also, the game overused special effects that adds nothing to the visual storytelling. And some event triggers are RNG based, and combined with the freedom element, you are in for the one hell of a boat ride inside the storm. Still, these are only minor annoyances I found from this game, aside from the loading screen, because that's one thing I find to be absolutely intolerable. That's everything I know about Zill O'll, and let me end the video here. If you are still here, thanks for watching the video till the end. As always, I'm Nai, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.